Dr. Joseph Martin here again with you and for you. What is self-worth and how to uncover it? Now, this is a very generalized, basic introduction to a whole online program of coaching, self-coaching around self-worth. Let's have a good look at this and get the whole big picture here so we understand what we're talking about. First of all, there's two words here around self-worth. Self. And what is the self, by the way? In this video today and the whole program itself, we'll be undoing the layers around the onion, so to speak, to get to the core of who we really are and our truest identity and who is the self. Now, part of the challenge around that self is we are living in a society that we're socialized into, and we're facing social hypocrisy around people telling us who we are so that we can fit into their mold, their model, and be little cogs in their wheel in the social, economic, political, and business sense of it. We're told who we are, what to do, and it's quite erroneous. In a way, we're forced against our will to give up our freedoms and some of our human rights and do the bidding of other people. So this is very important psychologically and anthropologically to look at what the self is and to find your own innate human identity and thereby your freedom. The second word is worth. It's like, what is worth? What is of value? What is of any worth to us? Worth is connoted to be the certain value that is paramount in any particular culture or society at any given time. Now, we need to understand that the value or the worth of people today is all based on economics. So that you're only worth something if you own a lot of money or have a lot of money, have a great income, have a lot of toys, cars, boats, homes, travel, holidays, and so on. Your worth, as viewed by either the person who's going to hire you, perhaps your parents, and your peers, of course, even, and just society at large, is strictly economic. And in a time when you might find it hard to find work and maybe not even have a lot of money, you might be seen to be, by society, as worthless. There's never been a time in the history of humanity on this earth when more people are deemed to be worthless because they have no money, no job, and they're poor. Poor is another word that we'll look at in another video because there's kinds of spiritual poverty and psychological poverty. But value today, unfortunately, is deemed to be strictly economic in terms of class, the class society that you're in. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about deepest, most intrinsic value or worth of your soul as a part, a unique facet of the one diamond of the source of all that is, of the great universal source. And that source is inside your heart. You may not even know that you're an intrinsically good, honest, loving, caring, kind soul that's eternal and immortal. And that's why you're looking at doing this course with us. And there's a lot that we can uncover and unlayer here. And this is what we're going to get into somewhat today and then further in other videos. Okay, well, let's look at the notion of self then. There are many layers of the personality in psychology, and we want to start in the outermost onion layer, and that is the masks or the personae, as Carl Jung says, that we all need to wear in order to get by in society. These masks we put on and take off and put on and take off. There are certain masks you wear with your significant other. There are certain masks you wear with your parents. Other masks, different ones you wear with your children. Other masks you wear with your relatives and your extended family. And then there are masks you wear with your neighbors beside you on the street where you live. Masks for your job and work. There's different masks for your boss, as there are masks for your coworkers, as there are different masks for your clients or your customers. There are just different masks you wear on your sports team or your charity group or any of the other kinds of groups that you belong to in the community. Each one is a different mask. None of them are really who you are, but we need to wear these masks, as we all do, in order to function at all in society. And our culture also creates masks. We have a mask for the particular religion that you were born into or that you have adopted, a mask for the particular age grade that you're in, and you change the mask as you move from one age grade through your life sequence to another one. And they're masks for just about anything. Masks to be in the artistic world or the musical world or the trucking world or the business world or the mining world or whatever world you live in. These are all different masks. None of them are who you are, and you need to disidentify with any and all masks in order to peel those layers off and get to the next layer down. The next layer down is your ego. The ego is a socially constructed, family constructed, culturally constructed, religiously constructed part of yourself that is what you operate out of. It's only a mind. It's only something that's has no feeling or thought necessarily. It's the way you've constructed your language, the way you think about yourself, your world, how you act in your world, and you're given certain ego characteristics. And these characteristics are certain values that you hold. Now, we say someone's egotistical or they're not so egotistical, so there are many different values that we can place within the ego. For instance, on a sliding scale, there's always bipolar sets of opposites or complementaries in terms of values. We have arrogance on one hand and humility on the other. There are all sorts of other ones we can look at. Superiority and inferiority. What you need to do is understand that you have tendencies in your ego towards these things, and you need to be conscious of when you're sliding into one side or the other, and eventually, maybe even as we get farther along in our process here, not today, where you learn to transmute and transform these kind of bipolarities into a deeper, deeper, deeper sense of self in the heart, in the soul. There are aspects of roles that you take on. You can play in your family, your community, among your peers, in your business world, and so on. Some of the ones that you can be playing now and again have nothing to do with who you truly are and your identity are the sick one, the poor one, the complaining one, the victim, the black sheep, the rebel, and on and on and on. There are many of these that we will look into one at a time as we move forward and look at the roles that you play that you have taken on, usually as a result of being socialized as a baby and a child in your family system and your genealogical kind of generations, a transmigration of roles that you've taken on that have passed down through all the lineages on your mother's and father's sides. Now, in the unconscious, we're going deeper. We're peeling away the onion again, trying to find out who we are here. In your unconscious, according to Jungian depth psychology, which is my background and training for over 40 years as a psychologist, along with all 50 other kinds of modern psychologies that I've trained in and used with my thousands of clients and workshop attendees, I understand that we have unconscious emotional complexes. It's very important as part of your understanding of your unique identity to ascertain and to identify and work with these emotional complexes. We're just going to name them here. We're not going to go into them. But here are some of the ones that are in your emotional personal unconscious. We have your mother complex, your father complex, your sibling complex, which is typically, if it's the same gendered sibling as you, it's your shadow complex. We have a God complex. We have many kinds of complexes, and they're like magnetic energy fields or mind fields that you can be triggered on by a word or a thought or an interaction with somebody in your world, and they go off inside you, and they're out of control. You're out of control beyond your conscious capacity, unless and until you understand how to work with your own emotional unconscious complexes and make them conscious. Having said all that, in the collective unconscious, there's family, genealogically oriented archetypal complexes, and they have to do with the religion that you're in, or the ethnic group, or the language group that you're in, and the historicity of what's gone on in your nation or your place of of birth in your town, in your city. All these we'll be looking into. But especially we're looking into what's called the collective shadow. This is not just your personal shadow. We're going deeper now into the collective shadow and understanding how the collective shadow can have a deep, resounding aspect to who we are, for good or for not so good. Perhaps, we're not to pinpoint any particular culture here, but there are certain cultures that have been very warring cultures, and the collective national shadow of these peoples, has a lot of guilt and or warring kinds of power over kinds of issues. And I would hazard to say that probably every nation and ethnic group in the world has this, so we're all the same and we're all in the same boat. And we can make all this unconscious conscious, which is the whole point of self-worth. And at the bottom, at the very bottom, and this is again Jungian depth psychology, is the self. Now, this is not only the self as portrayed as a psychological entity in the sense of it's the core of who you are, it's your true identity. It's after we looked at all these layers, made them conscious, transformed them, worked with them, and then gone down to the deepest level of the self. This is not the New Age, this is not the higher self we're talking about. This is really something much more deeply psychological and scientific. The self is that all-pervasive part of you that's mostly unconscious until you make it conscious. That is the identity that you know is who you are. It's not what you do. It's not what you have. It's not what you wear. It's not what you own. It's who you are as a human being, not a human doing. And too many of us are stepping into the doo-doo in the human doing side of things. In any case, on a spiritual level, the self is what we could say the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the Atman in Hinduism. There are many terms for all of this in all our world civilizations and cultural spiritual traditions. We will look into all of this again in a further time. This is the most important thing, to be outlining the structure and the functioning of the levels and layers of what is your unique identity and what is your truest core identity. That's what we're looking for in the search for opening up to your own self-worth. The way to find that most easily, naturally, and quickly is to be in the heart, out of the kind of back and forth in the mind, which is never one or the other. The heart is a unique opportunity to be unified. All your emotions, your feelings, your sensations, and all your inner intuitions and knowings. When you're here, now I'm going to outline to you what you will feel like when you've got to the place of self-worth. And it's an increasing, ever enhancing, day-by-day process and experience of how this will come forward for you. You will feel more self-confidence, you'll feel more self-love, you'll feel all these things that are really important for you. In this place, there are a number of things you need to be with yourself. One is authentic. You must learn to be authentic and be yourself at all times. Say your truth, say what you feel, and listen to other people. Secondly, you need to be vulnerable and just be open and surrendered and vulnerable to the moment, to yourself, to the circumstances in your life, be whatever they may, economic, political, religious, in terms of climate change and loss of property, or all sorts of things, relationships of loss through death, or someone has left you, or you've left somebody. All these things, you need to be open, surrendered, and vulnerable. It's the only way to find any intimacy with yourself and intimacy with other people. Besides that, you need to feel a certain sense of honesty with yourself. Only an honest person will find their true self-worth. And in that honesty is a deep, deep humility to realize that there's a great process of the universe working through you, spirit working through you, soul moving through you, giving you opportunities to open and learn and grow and evolve and be impassioned with who you are and what you can bring to the world, your unique self-worth, your worth to the world. And lastly, I think we could say, other than empathy, which is the kindness and respect that you give to yourself and to all other human beings and all our relations, as we say, all the animals and plants and trees and elements and waters. Lastly, through increasing and enhancing your self-worth, you will find love. It's not just self-love, it's the giving of love and the receiving of love, the highest unconditional great love that we all choose to need when we get to that point. And of course, we need it whether we know it or not, don't we? Self-worth, self-love. This then is the introduction to the whole process. Have fun with it, laugh with yourself, enjoy the process, take time to reflect and journal write about all this. We look forward to seeing you with the online program, and you can look at all the other videos that we have displayed there for you now on YouTube. And on the website, www.josephmartin-living-in-2-worlds.com. Yeah, so dash over to the website, have some fun. We'll see you soon. All love and blessings.